Imagine, if you will, a cold, desolate night at the local gas station. The chill in the air is biting, and the wind whistles a haunting tune as it dances around the deserted pumps. The glow of the station's lights offers a stark contrast to the pitch-black night, creating an eerie halo that pierces the darkness. It's a sight that would give even the bravest among us pause. In this chilling setting, we find our protagonist, a lone worker enduring the graveyard shift. His name is Mark, a hardy soul accustomed to the solitude. His breath forms clouds in the cold air as he shivers slightly, pulling his jacket tighter around him. The isolation isn't new to him, but tonight there's an undercurrent of unease that he can't quite shake off. The silence is too silent, the darkness too dark. Mark's eyes scan the vacant lot, the deserted highway beyond, and the shadows that seem to lurk just out of sight. His mind begins to play tricks on him, turning every rustle of wind into whispers, every creak of the station structure into footsteps. He tries to shake off these thoughts, attributing them to the late hour and the relentless cold. Yet, as he moves around, performing his duties, the feeling of unease grows. It's as if the night itself is closing in on him, wrapping him in a shroud of dread. He can't shake off the feeling that he's being watched, that something is lurking in the shadows. His heart begins to race, his palms grow sweaty despite the cold. He tries to laugh it off, but the sound dies in his throat, swallowed by the silence of the night. But as the clock ticked away, he felt an ever-growing sense of dread, a feeling that tonight was not going to be an ordinary night. As the hours wore on, a stranger arrived, his intentions unclear. The night was already cloaked in an eerie quiet, punctuated by the occasional hoot of an owl or the rustling of leaves. The stranger's arrival was almost imperceptible, his car pulling up to the pumps with a low growl that was quickly swallowed by the silence. There was something off about him, something that made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. His movements were slow, deliberate, as if he was trying to blend into the shadows. He didn't immediately get out of his car. Instead, he sat there for a few minutes, his silhouette barely visible in the dim glow of the station lights. Then he stepped out, his figure tall and imposing. He approached the counter, his footsteps a soft echo in the stillness of the night. The way he spoke, the way he moved, it was all off. His requests were strange, his voice a low, raspy whisper that sent chills down your spine. He asked for things that didn't make sense, items that the gas station didn't even carry. The tension was palpable, the air heavy with a sense of foreboding. You could feel your heart chest, your breath catching in your throat. Every instinct was screaming at you to get out, to run, but you were rooted to the spot, trapped in this contained nightmare. As he left, he cast one last lingering look over his shoulder, his eyes cold and emotionless. The door chime tinkled as he exited, the sound piercing the silence like a sharp knife. You were left standing there, a cold sweat trickling down your back, the echo of his voice still lingering in the air. He had a gut feeling that something was horribly wrong, but he couldn't put his finger on what. The stranger left as abruptly as he came, leaving behind an unsettling discovery. The night was still, but the quietness seemed to amplify the protagonist's heartbeat, racing like a wild horse in his chest. There, on the counter, lay an object, a small, crudely made doll, its face twisted into a grotesque grin. The sense of unease that had been building throughout the night seemed to crystallize into a single, chilling realization. This was no ordinary stranger. Our protagonist couldn't shake off the feeling that the doll was more than just a doll. Its lifeless eyes seemed to hold a sinister secret, a secret that sent a shiver down his spine. He examined the doll closer and, to his horror, found a note attached to it. The note read, "You're next." The words, though simple, were laced with a threat that was impossible to ignore. The panic that had been quietly simmering now bubbled over. He felt the walls of the gas station close in on him, the silence of the night pressing in from all sides. The stranger was gone, but the threat remained, tangible and terrifying in the form of the doll. The protagonist was no detective, but he knew enough to know that this was something he couldn't handle alone. He reached for the phone, his hands trembling, and dialed the number of the local police station. His mind raced as he relayed the night's events to the officer on the other end. The words tumbled out of him, a frantic stream of fear and confusion. The officer's calm voice on the other end was a small comfort, but it did little to quell the terror that gripped him. He was alone, terrified, and had the growing realization that he might not be safe. As he hung up the phone, he glanced back at the doll. Its twisted grin seemed to mock him, a chilling reminder that he was caught in a nightmarish reality from which there was no escape. The stranger was gone, but the nightmare was only just beginning. The police arrived, and the horrifying truth began to unfold. Their sirens pierced the night, a beacon of hope cutting through the thick shroud of terror. The flashing red and blue lights bathed the desolate gas station in an eerie glow, painting a grim portrait of the nightmare that had unfolded. A flurry of uniformed officers swarmed the area, their stern faces etched with grim determination. They cordoned off the scene, their practiced eyes taking in every detail, from the abandoned pumps to the dimly lit convenience store. Each piece of the puzzle was carefully documented, every inch of the crime scene meticulously combed in search of answers. The protagonist watched, his heart pounding in his chest like a wild drum. He felt a chill run down his spine as he saw the officers step into the store, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. The tension hung heavy in the air, a palpable force that gripped him in its icy hold. As the officers emerged from the store, their faces were ashen, their eyes wide with shock. The horrifying truth had been uncovered. The stranger, the man who had sparked the protagonist's fear, was not just an ordinary passerby. He was a fugitive, a dangerous criminal on the run from the law. The gas station, a mundane stop on a lonely highway, had become his hideout, his refuge from the relentless pursuit of justice. Upon hearing this, the protagonist felt his stomach drop. His worst fears had been realized. The stranger's odd behavior, his cryptic words, they all made sense now. He wasn't just dealing with a random stranger, but a desperate man with nothing to lose. A chill swept over him, his blood turning to ice in his veins. The reality of the danger he had been in hit him like a freight train. But the horror didn't end there. Upon further investigation, the police uncovered a gruesome sight in the store's back room. A room filled with stolen goods, a chilling testament to the stranger's criminal activities. The sight was enough to turn even the most seasoned officer's stomach, a grisly tableau of the stranger's life on the run. The protagonist was lucky. He had escaped unscathed, physically at least. But the mental scars, the haunting memories of that fateful night, they would remain with him forever. His brush with danger had left him shaken, his perception of the world forever altered. He was lucky to have escaped unscathed, but the night's events would forever haunt him. He was no longer just the casual attendant at a roadside gas station. He had become a survivor, a witness to a horrifying truth that had turned his ordinary world upside down. In the days that followed, the gas station became a beacon of whispered horror stories. The ordinary hustle and bustle of people filling their tanks and grabbing quick snacks was replaced by an eerie silence, punctuated only by the chilling whispers of the terrifying event that had taken place. The protagonist, once a cheerful and friendly presence, was now a shell of his former self. The trauma etched into his face, a constant reminder of the gruesome scene he had witnessed. Sleep was a luxury he could no longer afford, as nightmares of the horrifying truth kept him awake. His days were consumed by a lingering fear that refused to fade, a fear that the nightmare wasn't over, that the horror was far from finished. The gas station, once a beacon of light in the dark, lonely highway, was now a symbol of terror. Its reputation forever tainted, it became a chilling reminder of the gruesome tale it bore. The once buzzing pumps now stood in silence, like tombstones in a graveyard, a silent testament to the horrors that had unfolded. But as the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the unanswered questions began to fester. Who was the stranger? Why was he there? And most importantly, could it happen again? These questions hung in the air, a chilling reminder that sometimes the real horror lies not in knowing, but in the uncertainty that follows. The gas station was forever marked by that fateful night, a reminder of the horrors that unfolded. It stood there, a grim testament to the fact that sometimes ordinary places can become the setting of our darkest nightmares, proving that horror can strike anywhere, at any time. These stories serve as a chilling reminder of the unexpected horrors that can lurk in the most mundane of places. Gas stations, places we often pass without a second thought, transformed into scenes of unimaginable terror. This is a stark reminder of the unpredictability of life and the lurking dangers that can reside in the most ordinary of places. Each tale spun today is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the will to survive against odds that are stacked high and daunting. They tell us that fear, while a powerful and paralyzing force, can also be a potent motivator. It can drive us to make choices we never thought we could, to fight battles we never thought we'd face. But let's not forget the essence of these stories. At their core, they aren't just about fear, they're about the unknown. The stranger who arrives unannounced, the unsettling discovery in an otherwise normal setting, the horrifying truth that unravels unexpectedly. The unpredictability of it all is what truly terrifies us. It's the realization that we can never truly be prepared for what life throws at us, no matter how mundane the setting may be. And yet, in the face of such unpredictability, we continue to live, to go on with our lives. We fill our cars at gas stations, we take the same routes home, we fall into the comfort of routine. Because that's what life is about, isn't it? Moving forward despite the fear, despite the unknown. Now I invite you to reflect, to think about your own experiences, your own encounters with the unexpected. Have you ever faced a situation where fear and unpredictability took the driver's seat? Have you ever had a brush with the unknown that left you shivering yet fascinated? And if you enjoyed this journey into the eerie and unexpected, I encourage you to like this video and share it with others. Let's bring more people into this exploration of the unknown, this dance with fear and unpredictability. Let's create a space where we can share our experiences, learn from each other, and grow stronger together. Remember, these horrors are closer than you think. Stay safe out there and don't forget to like, share, and comment on the video. Until next time.